All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome everyone. We have a special guest. It is another educational exclusive. Last show I had brother Akil Parker for all this math. This week we have my beautiful sister here with Ase Academy, Crystal Denise, bringing talking about Ase Academy. Round of applause, round of applause. Welcome, 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 sis. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about the show and sharing what we're doing down here in Mississippi with your audience.
All right.
I'm excited.
All right, show everybody your shirt. That's the logo. Our Share Academy. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay,
Hmm.
so you're stationed in Mississippi. For those who may not know, our Share Academy. You have two schools now, right?
Yeah, there's a
Yes.
second Ashe in Brookhaven, which is in
Okay.
the southern part of the state, and that's ran by Sister Valerie and Sister Mary down there in Brookhaven.
Okay. So tell everybody what our Share Academy is about. What it's about.
So, Ashe Academy is the institution of the Black Liberation Movement. We started with the nonprofit, which was Oasis Literacy Center. And what we want to do is teach our children at a young age who we are, where we've been, where we need to go, because we know that they have to be an integral part of defining and creating a reality that's conducive to our survival. So when we started, we were just doing the after school program at the Senatobia, which is in Tate County as well, Housing Authority Community Center.
Okay.
And at that time, I was like, we got to have a name for this program that we're doing. And so, for people who know, Ashe means so be it. It's a Yoruba word that means so be it. And one morning I woke up, I was like, Ashe, we can do Ashe as our acronym for after school education at that time.
Yeah.
That was probably about 6, 7 years ago. And so we started running this after school program. And what we wanted to do was cultural awareness, do some hair activities to teach our children our heritage. And we found that a lot of them needed homework help. So we would help them with homework as best as we could. At that time, my youngest daughter was in middle school, and so she would come and she would help with math and things of that nature. So that worked. And then we met Minister Zelma Johnson. The building that I'm in is our culture center. When we first started working with her, this building was a church, and
Okay.
she had an awakening. She started listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins, Dr.
Mm.
Clark Anderson, and Dr. Ray Hagan, and her whole mindset shifted. And
Yeah.
so you should have seen us. I still have pictures when we transitioned this place to what it is now.
Right.
We moved church pews out. We moved pulpit out. We moved all that, and
Yeah.
then a few years after that, we had the roof the roof did cave in, so it actually gave us an opportunity to remodel.
Okay.
We gutted the building and we started all over, which was great because then we could create a vision for the center, and that's what
Yeah.
you see behind me. You see the mural on the wall.
That's right.
You see our retail space that we added a couple months ago, and then up at the front of the building we have a library because I'm a librarian.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And so we have created a library with books by, for, and about us. So back to where we were. So we started running the program out of the culture center. And one thing that I was learning as I was in this work was so many of our people are obtaining knowledge and coming into knowledge at different ages and stages of our life. So
Right.
I was like, we got to have this institutionalized so that our children can know from the gate who
That's
they
right.
are,
That's
know,
right.
our contributions to the world, and know that we had the ability to get back to the essence of who we are. And so, in 2020, 2019, in the 20, no, in the 2020, sat down with some like-minded women, and we were like, okay, we're gonna start working on Saturdays. We just gonna do a Saturday school.
Yeah.
And our first session was January of 2021, and we were here at the center, and there were four of us, and we were rotating out and teaching different things in our skill set. And so now is me, because
Yeah.
once you start doing the work, you realize how much of a grind it is and how
Yeah.
much work is involved in doing this. And so, I'm determined, because I really know that this is my mission, passion, and purpose. And so I'm not giving up, because I take what Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said. I won't rest until Black children are taught to learn to love themselves as themselves. And
That's right.
so, y'all see my granddaughter keep coming in the background. She is an example of what that can do.
Yeah.
I've seen her blossom and grow throughout the years with the Saturday schools and after school educational programs that we do.
Oh, I look, I'm so proud of you. I'm so thankful for you because you are starting our children off on the right foot. Like I know when it comes to my reading and things that I read growing up when I was in school, I thought black folks started with slavery.
Hmm.
That's how they taught us. Our roots are slavery, and that's as
Yep.
far as they'll go back over here in America. So,
Yeah.
my mother, she's a big fan of Dr. Ray Hagen's and Dr. Boyce Watkins as well. And I've sat in on a few things that they've talked about, and it blows your mind. And whew, it's just like you said, people come into knowing themselves in different stages of their lives. My stage started when I was probably about 34 or 35. I started
Hmm.
getting away from the religion, learning about Kemet. That's why it was so dope to me when we came out for the Black Power Summit, building Black Power Summit. Was last year where it was at the Kemet Coffee Shop. I was like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
felt like me and my mother felt right at home.
Hmm.
But so let me ask you a question. What is your favorite book to introduce to the kids? Like, for your first time readers, first time students, what is your favorite go-to book that you give to them to start off reading?
So I'm glad you asked that, because you said something that made me think about uh, the whole catalyst for what we do. As I said, I'm a librarian. I'm at a community college, and
Yeah.
I'm going into my finishing up my 19th year. And when I first started, I have learned so much working in higher education about how the system works and how everything is basically, like Dr. Amos Wilson said, it's a business.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that if your child scores a 16 composite on the ACT, they have to take a remedial reading course. Doesn't matter
Mm.
if they were undergraduate, doesn't matter what,
Wow.
if they score a 16. And so we were going into these reading classes trying to inspire and encourage the students to read.
Yeah.
And I in these classes are probably 90% or greater black students.
Yeah.
And so I was like, because I've always been a reader, and I've always been um, interested in black authors. And so I would ask these students, I'm like, why don't you like to read? Because they were like very reluctant readers.
Mm.
And they said, because it's boring. Just like you were like, I don't want to, I mean, nothing interests me. And
Yeah.
so when you think about what we had to read when we were in school, I could understand that,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, a lot of students don't have people or parents that will take them to the library and expose them to other type of material.
Right.
So that is why, I was like, we got to do something to catch our children on the front end, instead of opposed to waiting until they become adults or young adults to try to get them interested in reading.
Yeah.
And so that is how Oasis came about. And then, of course, we evolved into Ashe. So one of the books, um, as a librarian, I have to, fall back on some of my quote training and just find out what people are interested in.
Okay.
What do you like to do? What do you like to watch on television? What do you like to do in your pastime? Like, are you a sports person, or I mean, because there's a book for everybody. I have a
True.
sign that says everybody's a reader. You just haven't found your niche or your genre or your book yet. And so, for my granddaughter, she's a girly girl.
Yeah.
So we read books about princesses and mermaids, because everything is linked back to us. And
Right.
so even with the mermaids, when they had the big thing about the black Ariel, I'm like, but do y'all know who Mommy Water is? She is like this mermaid that is African folklore that
Wow.
dated back to even when we uh became contact or had European contact. Our ancestors were telling the story of Mommy Water, the
Wow.
supreme being of the water. And so when you know that, and
Yeah.
you think about mermaids, you're gonna look at this in a whole new light.
Yeah.
And so just finding out where a person is. For adults now, I love to give them Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson because it's a thorough history of how we became, the bottom rail in this
Yeah.
country.
Right.
And so once you learn that, and once you learn about meritorious manumission, you'll understand why we treat each other the way we do sometimes. You'll understand how we have to unite to come together to make this work.
That's
And
right.
so it depends on where you are in your journey, what I would recommend. But here, we have, I try to kind of categorize and section it off. We have a natural hair section for our young children
Go
so they
ahead.
can come in and they can read books about their hair. There's one written by a 9-year-old that's titled Me and My Afro.
Go
And
ahead.
so, you can read books by children here at the library. We have a section with HBCU section. And so there are books about HBCUs.
Yeah.
There's a video over there about the history of HBCUs. We have a Muhammad Ali section. We
Go
have
ahead.
a Malcolm X section. We have a Fannie Lou Hamer section. And so then we have a whole biography section. So you
Yes.
can read about our children can read about a lot of different people throughout history because there's an African proverb that states when one teaches to learn. And so every time I learn something, y'all gonna learn it.
Yes.
Every
Yes.
time y'all learn something, I'm gonna
Yes.
learn it because I'm fascinated with us, especially the heritage and history in Mississippi. It's fascinating. It's interesting, and when you learn how important Mississippi is to this world,
Yes.
you'll be amazed, and you'll say, okay, yeah, a lot of that stigmatism is warranted, but this state produced the Mega Evans, the Fannie Lou Hamers, the Ida B. Wells, the E.J. Stringers, and the
So
list goes
many.
on and on
Yes.
uh, about Mississippi people. So yeah, so it just depends on where you are in your walk.
Yeah.
There's a book for everybody,
I
and then you
got
just keep on reading and reading and reading and reading and
you.
reading.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've learned to be more conscious about what our children watch, and because I had to just go back and I had to think about a lot of things that I saw growing up. Right, you got the Superman's white, you got Batman's white, Santa Claus is white, and it's embedded in your brain that white folks could do things that black folks cannot do. It's just something about white folks that is just, but I caught my 9-year-old early because she came in right around in that mix where I was waking up, and I would check some things that she would say, but then I had to reel her back in because she doesn't know what not to say,
Right.
when she goes to school or when she's around certain people. So, we be riding past and she'll see the American flag. She's like, oh, that's the white people's flag. That's not our flag, or stuff like that. I'm like, hey, yeah, well, just kind of reel it in, baby. Okay, just reel it
Mhm.
in. Like, here's our flag. Yes, this is our flag. But that's why I think it's so great with the books that you're teaching these kids, showing our children, is because it's implanting that black pride in us. So when we are introduced to other things, you're like, yeah, yeah, okay. So that's how y'all think so that's how you guys want to tell that story, okay? But yeah, I know the real story. You know what I mean? And I think that's important for us because as our children get older, that self pride, you won't fall for those same okey dokes.
Right.
You won't be so susceptible to a lot of these things that white supremacy has out there for our children. So I really appreciate. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much because reading is very, very, very much fundamental. and it can
It
shape and mold your mind and how you view the world.
For sure, and that's why because brother and Kill and I talk a lot. Well, not a lot, but we do some planning with lessons because we understand that reading and math go hand in hand. Because now I'm seeing it with my granddaughter; they're bringing a lot of reading problems home,
Yeah,
and I I feel like it's intentional because they know our children don't understand the language, and so because I know everything is intentional. So anyway, if they can't understand and read the problem correctly, how in the world can they solve it? And so
yes, ma'am.
I'm seeing a lot of problems have two steps. Like, the teacher she's going to use four staples to put up the student's work. And if she puts up nine students' work, how many staples is she using? Things of that
Yes.
nature. So, and so they're having to use different functions for one problem and things like that. So it does help them think it through. When you have to read, you have to use your mind, you have to use your imagination,
That's right.
um, to picture out and think about what you're reading.
That's right.
I'm presently doing a program, Read Black with Me, and every Tuesday I have children come on and we're reading books together. So I have a younger group of children about like maybe 3 to 9. We're reading a book together. They're
Yeah.
reading out loud because I'm checking pronunciation. I'm watching them to see how they're sounding out words,
Yeah.
and we're talking about the book. And then the older children are reading a chapter book. So we're reading like 5 chapters every week and we're talking about those. And so one thing that I have them do, especially the younger group, is draw some pictures. Let me see how you're interpreting the material we're reading. And the older group too, they do a lot of drawing and
Yeah.
writing out how they think things are looking. And so you can see where our children, how they're thinking, how they're processing information and all that. And so when people talk about reading and not wanting to, I have a big problem with that
Yeah.
because it does help you think more critically, and it also provides an understanding of how the world is shaped around you. And so you just have to find books that they're interested in. Every book we're reading is about uh, family in some type of way. It's
Yeah.
about our story in some type of way. And so, the first book we read was Every Day is a Sunday by Brother Obafemi. And now we're currently reading, well, we just finished Family Reunion, a book about a young guy that didn't want to go to his family reunion, but once he got there, he
Yeah.
had a great time. And next week we'll be starting Freedom in Congo Square. So Congo Square was a place in New Orleans where the enslaved people would go every Sunday and basically have their time to do what they wanted. If they wanted to worship, if they wanted to fellowship, they just had a congregated space down in New Orleans. And so we're going to be reading about that. We're going to be talking about um, where New Orleans is. We're going to be talking about some of the history of New Orleans. And so I'm excited about that. The older children, they're reading Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. And so if y'all know anything, y'all know African folk tales were
Hmm.
long before these Greek mythology
Yes.
tales that we learned in school. And so we're learning about our story, but in an action-packed novel.
Yeah.
So we're learning about John Henry, Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, Tar Baby. We're learning about bottle trees. Bottle trees are something that our ancestors brought from the Congo. These people, if you've seen people, I've seen them in people's yards before, the bottles on
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
And so we learned that the bottles were placed on trees to capture the evil spirits
Wow.
uh, of people. And so the bottles trapped them.
I never
And
knew that.
then yeah, no, yeah, it's based on a real
Wow.
thing. And so they're excited about the story because it is great. It teaches our story and our folklore and folk tales in an entertaining way.
Let me
So
let me put that flyer back up every Tuesday. right? Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're here on Tuesdays, here physically at the center, and then we're doing I should have sent you the flyer for the Read Black with Me. That's virtual.
Okay.
The Read Black with Me is virtual. So I have children checking in from all over Pennsylvania, Georgia, uh,
Wow.
Colorado,
Wow.
Florida. And so we have our creating, when we talked about family reunion last week, I said, this is a family right here. This is
That's right.
our divine virtual family. And so the children are engaging with each other. We had one that wasn't with us last Tuesday. They're like, where is y'all? Where is y'all? So it's been great. It does my heart so well. I tell people all the time, if you're depressed or if you feel like you don't have anything, you need to start investing in our children. Start working with
Yes.
our children. It will
You,
definitely brighten you up and brighten
you
your
will live a
spirits.
long you will live a
Yeah,
long time. You will live a long time
for
because
sure.
those children there will keep you going. And
On your
so
toes.
that's right. And your other flyer here for the
Mhm.
Saturday school, Unlearning to Remember, Teach. Hold on before I go any further. You have a YouTube channel. Is it under
I
Ashe Academy or your name, Crystal Denise?
So my YouTube channel, okay, so I switched it up because I also do a Read Black with Me program, what I was
Okay.
just about talking about. And so I started with doing reading a book every month and having a monthly book discussion. So
Okay.
that's why it's Read Black with Me. So
Okay.
it's Read Black with Me, I think. I'm not
Okay.
100% sure. I can find it and put it in the comments because I really access it through Facebook more than YouTube, and
Okay.
I need to start building up my YouTube as
Got you.
opposed to Facebook. But yeah.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So let me go back to this flyer here.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday school, Unlearning to Remember, Teaching to Nation Build. So that virtual session, we had one just past October 28th. The next one
Mm-hmm.
coming up is November 11th and December the 9th. All right. So four to 10 year olds from 10 to 11:30 a.m. 11 years and up from 12 to 2:30 p.m. Curriculum powered by Kamali. Am I pronouncing that right?
You
Come
are.
on. Okay. Okay. All right. For more information, www.blackliberationmovement.com or Mama Crystal 405-361-4751. Okay. If you guys are watching this video back, just pause it and write it all down that you need to write down. Okay. All right. So let me get some more of these comments because you got a lot of support over here. Let me see. Shea Academy offers it all. We always ask for solutions as adults. Well, at Shea Academy, the scholars are learning how to be the solution. That's right. That's right.
And let me say this because Sister Mila is a very integral part of Ashe Academy because,
Okay.
as most people know, she's the ministress of health and wellness for the Black Liberation Movement. And
Okay.
so, what we do when we start Saturday school, when we start our sessions, after we open up, Sister Mila comes on and we do some type of health and wellness activity with them. So sometimes she'll have them working out and,
Yeah.
and doing those. And sometimes we practice deep breathing, but she always leaves a message of health and wellness with the scholars. So she'll ask them, are you drinking enough water? Are you eating your fruits and vegetables and things of that nature? If you go to her channel, you can find two routines that she made specifically for our children at Ashe Academy that you can do with your children as well, just
Okay.
to get them introduced to being fit and moving.
Okay.
Because a lot of our children don't move, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're stuck in front of a device or the television or something like that. So just to get our children introduced to health and wellness because we want to teach a holistic approach. We want to not just focus on academics. We want to talk about health and wellness. We want to talk about those things that you didn't get in school, your
Yes.
finance. We want
Yes.
to talk about
Yes.
how do you treat yourself? How do you treat your brother and sister? How do you nation build for real? You know,
Yeah.
so just that practical part of life, the life skills, the survival skills, all that is what we do at Ashe Academy.
Okay. Well, I would love to get Sister Mila on one day on the
Hmm.
show. Sister Mila, would you like to come on the show one day? I love to have you on, and so you can talk about all that you do as well. I gotta highlight. I gotta highlight it. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
For
command
sure.
Commander Patrick, Black Power family. I see y'all have the dopest. That's right, librarian in the world. Let me get my popcorn. That's right. That's right. So okay. So I asked you about what's your favorite or what's your go-to book, but you say that depends on the kid. And that got you, got you. So let me ask you then, what is what is one of your favorite books?
Whew. I knew you was gonna ask that when so
Okay,
uh
give me your top five then. I brought it for you. I brought it. Give
okay.
me your top five.
So I love the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Chris Wilson. That's one of
Okay.
my favorites for sure. Um then I have a novel that's in my top, and that is Kindred by Octavia Butler.
Okay.
And let's see what else I like. I love Dr. Claude Anderson. I'm just gonna put him in my top. Can I do my top five authors
Go
instead?
ahead. Go ahead. Do that. Do that. Top five
Okay.
authors.
So my top five authors are uh, Dr. Claude Anderson, Dr. Francis Chris Wilson, Dr. Amos Wilson, and I had to put a fiction in there.
Mm,
Octavia Butler is not one of my favorite authors, but that's one of my favorite books. I love Toni Morrison as well,
okay. Okay.
just because she wrote for Black people and she was unapologetic about it, and
Yes.
she made that statement. So, and of course, let me go back and say I love Dr. Amos Wilson because his research and his studies were specific to Black people and our problems. He was a psychiatrist, psychologist, and so he was very specific and very powerful. He wrote about children. So if you work with Black children in any capacity, you do need to read and study Dr. Amos Wilson and Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, also Dr. Michael Porter and Jawanza Kunjufu.
Okay.
So those are some of my favorite authors because of what we do and who I work with. Um, yeah, I'm
Okay.
always listening to Dr. Amos Wilson because he just broke it down all the way down,
Wow.
and
Wow.
it's
Wow.
so still relevant.
Yeah.
We don't have to go to this what society is doing. We can go back to our ancestors because they left what Jahia said Shay says the black print.
Yeah. Go
They
ahead.
left us the black print,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We sitting up here going in circles, wandering in the wilderness, that they say. As
Yeah.
they say in the Bible, they were wandering in the wilderness for 40
Mm.
years. And
Hmm.
we doing it too because we refuse to study our ancestors and elders
That's
and
right.
take those lessons. I
That's
was
right.
reading that book. I did a book talk Monday on a forgotten sisterhood, and it's a book about four of our ancestors who started schools in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It was Lucy Craft Laney, Mary McLeod Bethune, Charlotte Perkins Brown, and Nanny Helen Burroughs. And I was just reading about the standard of excellence
Yeah.
that we once had when we
Yeah.
were doing our own thing, we were segregated.
Right.
And it just made me remember some of the stories my mother told me because my mother attended segregated schools
Okay.
in Southeast Arkansas. And these people, these women and men who taught them expected nothing but excellence. And you had more of a community bond. And so the community and these teachers, because the teacher, everybody lived together. You
Yeah.
had your teachers in the same community
Right.
with the students, and so it was a community of learning and a community of excellence. And I grew up in that community. And I know what it must have been like because it was somewhat like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It was like if an elder told your parents something that you did, you could
That's right.
argue till you were blue in the face that you
Yeah.
didn't do it,
Right.
but you know, so they were gonna correct you, and then your parents were gonna correct you too. But now we become far removed from that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, uh,
I just I always will have love and admiration, like I said, for Martin Luther King and all my elders who were a part of the civil rights movement. But I've always felt that we paid more of a price with desegregation because when we did that, there were a lot of black businesses that were left for dead. There were a lot of communities that were black, that were united, that were real communities that a lot of people felt like they wanted to go see what was on the other side of the fence. The grass is green on the other side. Let's go live with the white folks. Let's go shop here. And I've never understood wanting to be served by people who hate me. I never understood that. I understood the statement they were trying to make, but at the end of the day, do you really want to eat that food?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So do you really want to invest your money, your time? Do you really want to send your children to a school where they're going to be bullied and traumatized and not be fully educated and treated as they should be treated? Do you really want our children to go through that trauma? And that's all that we went through to try, and we got separated. We divided and conquered because now we have less communities than we've ever had before, and we're trying to get that back. And I felt as though that if segregation could have stayed on a little bit longer, we would have built so much that when it's time for us to have that conversation of desegregation, we already have our own. It's like, okay, yeah, we may partner up with you, we may do this with you, whatever, but at the end of the day, this is ours. And you're not gonna mess
Mhm.
it, you're not gonna mess that up. We're gonna have our
Right.
black banks, we're gonna have our black supermarkets, we're gonna have our black hospitals, we're gonna have all these things that are black, you're gonna leave it alone. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry I had to rant like that,
No,
but I think
because I
that just
wanted
bothered.
to I wanted to say something that you made a point of saying we desegregated because I was saying we didn't integrate, we assimilated. But then when I was working on the calendar, I was reading about the Brown versus Board of Education because if you listen to Claude Anderson, he says it never was about integration or anything. We wanted money. We wanted the same type of funding. Black
Mhm.
schools wanted the same type of funding that white schools were getting. So then we got this desegregation, and desegregation is different from
Yeah.
integration.
Okay.
Desegregation means I'm just going to allow you in my space.
Okay.
Integration would have meant I'm gonna allow you in my space, and I'm also gonna teach your history, and I'm gonna bring your teachers over because a lot of people don't realize that when these schools were desegregated, that a lot of black teachers, thousands, lost their jobs, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because they just wanted the students over, but they didn't bring the staff, the faculty over. So we desegregated. We did not integrate. We did not assimilate. We
Yeah.
desegregated these schools. And so the language is very important
Thank you for
because
correcting me.
it
You corrected
it
me on
no,
that.
you said it. You said it.
Yeah.
You said we desegregated. And a lot of us say integration.
Yeah.
And so I started saying assimilation. Now I'm saying desegregate, just like you said, because we did desegregate. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause it just when it come to my babies, man. When it come to them babies, that hatred, that it's too young for them to have to try to deal with that and try to mentally process that hatred that was waiting for them. And that's a trauma. And I know for a fact that may have played a part of our education as far as kids not even wanting to go. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
excuse me, but
Yeah.
that played a part in that. And like for me, like you were saying about when I was learning social studies, that stunted my growth as far as what I wanted to read. Because I'm like, okay, well, if this is what they have for me, and it's, and then I'm learning as it's more lies. I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna find something else. But rather than being introduced and like, nah, bro, yeah, this is a lie, but you also go find and read the truth. Once
Mhm.
just because you know something is a lie doesn't mean that you shouldn't go search and read more truths. You know, so
Yeah,
that's
because I'm actually working on a project um that would make us understand what true integration would have been.
yeah,
So if you learn about Ulysses S. Grant, you should also be learning about Martin Delany. If you're learning about Benjamin Franklin, you should also be learning about Benjamin Banneker.
there
If
you
you're
go.
learning about Jane Austen, you should also be learning about Phyllis Wheatley. And
Okay,
so
yeah,
if you learn about Napoleon Bonaparte, you also should be learning about Bookman Dada and Lorraine Toussaint. We
yeah,
should be learning all these other people. If you
yeah,
learn about the Bible, you should be learning about my art. And so, so that's a project I'm working on right now, and it's really fascinating because I just had woke up one day with a thought like,
Yeah.
man, when I'm starting to learn about these people, we know, of course, we know about the Fannie Lou Hamers, and well, I didn't when I was growing up,
Yeah.
and so that's one thing that drives me because Malcolm said, "A sad people don't do anything, but a mad people, that's who make changes." And
That's
so,
right.
as I'm learning that, you mean to tell me, you mean to tell me that I'm in Southeast Arkansas and I was only an hour and a half away from Ruralville, Mississippi, where Fannie Lou Hamer is resting. You mean tell me that? I didn't know that growing
Mm,
up. That I
man.
live so close to where this most powerful lady in Mississippi was. And so I'm angry about that. I'm
Yeah.
angry that I don't know about Skip Robinson. I'm angry that I didn't know who Kwame Ture was. And
Yeah.
he was right there in the Delta in Greenwood, which is an hour from where I grew up. And so, no, I'm not going to allow the next generation to have to wait until they're 30 and 40 years old to know this. You're going to know it now, and you're going to understand why you need to know it now.
That's right.
You're going to
That's right.
understand why you need to know it now. We
That's
have
right.
tips. We have all these people who came before you who were doing these things. It's like Dr. John Henry Clark said, if you think your history, you progress is didn't start. We didn't start with slavery at the emancipation. We've been doing this.
Yes. That's
So
right.
a lot of us don't even like to say the first anymore because we were the first everything. One of the uh recitations that we learn here at Ase Academy is Oath to the Ancestors that's written by Dr. Ray Hagan. And
Mm,
in that he says our African ancestors who brought music to the world,
that's right.
literature to the world, mathematics to the world, philosophy to the world,
That's right.
God consciousness to the world,
That's right.
everything. He got it all
That's
covered
right.
in that oath. And so when our children learn that and that recite that, they internalize in that,
That's right.
you know, and it's crazy because Akil and I have had this conversation about math. Math is ours.
That's right.
Math is ours. We just let other people corrupt it and take it and confuse it, because it
Yep.
took math to build those pyramids. So, when you
Yep.
hear Baba Baruti talk about the pyramid and how the temperature stays the same all year round,
Yeah.
and they're just the structure of it. It took math,
That's right.
so yeah, we brought everything,
That's right.
everything.
We taught
Mhm.
them fools to stop messing with animals, stop laying down with animals, how to be civilized, how to try to introduce, the crops,
Right,
agriculture, all of these things. And
right.
it's nothing that's been introduced that we, as far as, the pillars of every community, every society, we 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 had that. We have that.
Right. And
And
if you look, and I'm gonna say this because we really need to go back and study the ancestors because when I was reading this book about Fanny Jackson Coppin, who
mhm,
was one of the founders of Cheney State, where Akil Parker is, and Coppin State in Baltimore. Um, when you look in her book, she has examples of some of the math problems and the English composition uh, assignments. And when you look at that and you see what our ancestors were doing, you know that this curriculum has been dumbed down. We are capable of doing this. If you provide the right environment for our children,
that's right.
there ain't no telling what we'll be able to do. And so that's what we want to do at Ashe Academy. I tell them all the time, this is a safe space. If you have a problem pronouncing a word, that's okay. You got family around there here that's gonna correct you in love.
That's
And
right.
so that's one of the lessons I learned from that book I just talked about of Forgotten Sisterhood. They we loved our children. We wanted them to learn. It wasn't a punishment that was done out of you do as I say,
Yeah.
period. It
Yeah.
was like, this is a consequence of your behavior. It
That's right.
wasn't considered punishment. And so, that's one of the things that I'm working with my granddaughter and the children that I come in contact here with. I'm not fussing at you. I'm teaching you.
Yeah.
When you come in here, you don't just run. You're respectful of the place.
Yeah.
It's not, no, don't do it. I'm explaining to you why you're not gonna do that. How you gonna talk to even your biological brother? I know when y'all go home, you might do
Yeah.
that, but in here, you're gonna be
Yeah.
respectful of each other. You're gonna we're gonna correct in love. It's
Yeah.
about you can't teach who you don't love.
That's right. That's right.
You can't teach them appropriately.
I've learned, my wife has taught me a lot. She has introduced the gentle parenting aspect as far as natural consequences. She's, as far as, that being the punishments and things like that, natural consequences. And it was hard for me because, I was raised different. I was old school. My mama was a little crazy, so, that kind of carried on, but, and especially with me having four daughters,
Mhm.
I can't parade around as if I have four sons. I just can't do that. I can't do that. So we, for the most part, we trying to with the 2 year old, and the 2 year old is just
Uh,
basking in it because, and it's just like it's just. But what I learned, I forgot the brother's name. It's a brother. He is huge as far as talking about space and things like that. I forgot his name, but he said this one thing. He was like, stop calling your kids bad. They're not bad. They are, they're adventuring. They're curious. They're searching. They're looking for things. That Stop calling them that. It's like just get that out of your head. Stop killing their character before they even build a character. You're killing their character by calling they bad. They bad. No, they're adventurous. They're searching. They're curious about every single thing, and that's what my 2 year old is. She is the most curious, adventurous child I've ever had.
mhm,
But I'm, we're gonna get her some books. We're gonna get her
mhm.
some books. Another thing that helps with her is speaking about how we're more conscious about what our children watch as far as entertainment, movies, and stuff like that. On YouTube, Gracie's Corner, she teaches
Yeah.
kids how to sing and count and all these things. But she also, it's all about black. It's all about black. I love my hair, my curly hair, my locks, all these things, and the kids love it. So, but also that helps as well too, especially with the 2 year old. But she's getting there. She's getting there.
And there, I'm gonna send you a list because there are a lot of YouTube um programs that are for us.
Okay.
Akili is a good one too.
Okay.
But I want to say something because you said gentle parenting, and I would love for us to find another phrase and word for that for us for
Okay.
Black folks
Okay.
because I know that our experiences and everything are different from the people who coined that phrase.
Yeah.
And when you look at the foundation of gentle parenting and you look at the principles of my aunt, it looks like
Mhm.
they just took those and kind of remixed them to fit their culture. And so I had made, this post and observation some time ago, gentle parenting is not for us. I think we need to what you said, we do have to have boundaries and we do need to uh, talk to our children more
Okay.
as opposed to when we were growing up. It wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of talking.
Right.
Uh, you know, I'm a consequence based person too, because I told my children all the time, every decision you make has a consequence.
Yeah.
Now, with that consequence can be positive or it can be something that you don't want. So, but we had to guide them too. I think a lot of us as parents, I know you and your wife are uh, active parents, and
Yes.
so a lot of these children are using that as a reason to not parent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna let them decide what they want to do,
Yeah.
or they old enough they can make their own decisions. And so, I would love for us as a community to come up with another name for it
Okay.
and create our own standards for it.
I got
So,
I got you. I got you.
mm,
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what see, and like I said, I don't know if you've been told this, but you are the representation. You are the perfect live and living color, one of the pillars of our black communities that we need. Because
thank
our
you.
children is the most important thing that we have. And guess who's the next most important? The ones who are dealing with our children, the ones who are looking out for our children and teaching our children the betterment of our children. I'm sorry, I don't care about no celebrity. I don't care about no athlete. I don't care about nobody else. I care about
And
the people who care about our children.
yes, and that was another point, that I've been studying, I've been learning. Our ancestors and our elders, they understood the importance of teaching, and
Yes.
teaching was once a honorable and respected position to have in the community, and it is somewhat, but the reasoning is shifting. I
Yeah.
think when our ancestors and elders were teachers, it was because they knew that there's so much power in life in teaching the next generation. It was an honor to
Yeah.
teach, and so when we talk about, because I've been studying a lot of our uh ancestors, female queens, and when we talk about Ida B. Wells, I'm looking up because she's right there on our wall,
Yeah.
and we talk about Harriet Tubman, and the feminist movement tries to capture these women, and we can't allow that,
Yeah.
because when they were speaking for women, it was because they understood the importance of the woman as the first teacher, and
Got you.
the woman having the power to shape the direction and the course of the next generation. So when we talk about teachers, we really need to think about that. Think
Yes.
about the divine assignment that's attached to teaching our children. And so what I've learned these past few years, and I know I'm a work in progress, because it was a time where I was like, whoo, ooh, because
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
was a librarian in Oklahoma City, I was in at Ralph Ellison Library, and it was smack dab in the Black community. I mean, the children could just walk across the parking lot and
Yeah.
come to the library, and I was like, "Woo, these children got me going, so I don't even want to deal with my own when I get home." So, but now, I don't care. I leave my job and I come straight up here to the center to work with our children, because they are the future. And as Brother Patrick, Commander Patrick, says all the time, if they are the future, we have to be their present. And
That's right.
so that requires, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of studying, I do a lot of prepping, because I don't care if I had one child or if I had 10, they're going to get the same me. They're going to get the
Yeah.
same energy, because it's an investment. It's truly an investment into our future. And
That's right.
again, I would say, if you're looking for something, if you feel like you have a void in your life, you got to start working with the youth, the children and the youth. You got to.
That's right.
I was
That's right.
finding that, being up there at the library at the community college, I thought I was, doing something. I came in there, I was like, oh, they ain't got no Black books in here. I'm gonna start ordering. I started ordering all type of Black books, and I actually had a coworker tell me, she's like, "Man, we appreciate you, because we're seeing students come in checking out books." So, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And then I started having conversation with them. I'm like, okay, they ain't really, you know. So we got to do something else. We got to do something outside these institutions. We got to, we got a lot of work to do to catch up and compete, because I see it. And I talked to Brother Patrick. I'm like, man, I'm so disheartened, because I'm up here going to these meetings and they talking about thousands, hundreds of thousands, throwing it around like it's $5, $10. Like, we just got this for $100,000, and I'm like, dang, we can't even get 1,000, So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
just watching and seeing how we behind the 8 ball, and just trying to get us to wake up and do our part to get us back in front of where we once were. So
So
yeah.
how can people help? How can people help if they want to donate? Where do they donate to?
So they can cash app us, or PayPal, or send us whatever you want directly. Our cash app is Oasis, OASISL, and that's a lowercase L. Oasis L, lowercase
Oh,
L.
okay. Lowercase
Um,
L.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it should be a picture of Oasis and Ase Academy, both logos on the Cash App picture. And or they can PayPal. Our handle is Miss Library Lady at
Okay.
gmail.com. Or
Gotcha.
they can just, reach out to me. We do Zelle. Just reach out to me as well, because one thing we emphasize is that, we want to teach us our story. We don't want anyone to tell us how we do that. And so we, really stay away from government grants, because
Okay.
we know once you start accepting that money, you cannot, quote, be specific. Because
Mm.
like I said all the time, they know the condition. These people know the condition of black folks.
Yes, right.
So if they wanted to do something, they could.
Yes,
They
right.
know the condition of our children. It's like Brother Kia said down at the Build a Power Summit. They want to put on the imagery like they want to help our children, but really they don't, because us being ignorant is $1 billion industry for
Mm.
somebody else. And so,
That's
we
so
want
true.
to do our part. It's for us by us, seriously.
So
For us by us.
so Sister Crystal, I'm gonna tell you like I told Brother Akil, this is not gonna be your last time here. I look forward to having a show where I have you, Brother Akil, and Sister Mila. Let me make sure I'm saying it right.
Mila.
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 Okay, Sister Mila. I'm gonna have you all on on the same show, and I want this to be a reoccurring thing. Because like I said,
Okay.
I want to keep promoting every single thing that you guys may have coming up or you guys got going on. Because like I said, education for our children, for me, is the number one priority. Outside, safety. That's why we are part of the Elmer Geronimo
Mhm.
Pratt Gun Club, self
Mhm.
defense, protection of our children, but also the education of our children and the betterment of our children. Because we can't just turn we got to get out of this mindset of just because you make this one vote at that ballot box is going to change things. You're talking about
Right.
generations and generations and hundreds of years of policies and laws that have ingrained itself. So it's going to take at least that much time, but it's going to have to be steady. It's going to have to be steady. You know,
Mhm.
um, do you have anything else that you have coming up that you want to promote?
Oh, we do, we do. So I didn't send you the flyer for this, but I don't know if y'all can see it.
Hold on,
It's
let me put you full screen. Hold on.
okay.
There you go.
This is hair wraps and waist beads. And so one thing we want to do is culture events. So at first we were just going to have this for the ladies, teaching the significance of head wraps in our culture and waist beads. And I'm gonna have a sister from Memphis, Sister Shani. She owns Sankofa Creates, where she makes waist beads and ankle bracelets. And there's a whole significance of waist beads. They're used for waist management, tribal identification, things of that nature on the continent. And so she's gonna be teaching about that, and then I'll be teaching about head wraps and their significance. So we can start wearing these bonnets out. We can wear our culture out in public, and both will be available for purchase. But then we added, I thought about my granddaughter, which I can see behind me, and some of the other younger ladies that we work with. We're going to have them included in the program as well. So she'll have waist beads available for your babies, your princesses as well. And so, yeah, Sister Mila is going to be November 19th, which is a Sunday. It's going to be here at the Culture Center from 4 to 6. And so that's just one. And we'll also be having some type of Kwanzaa program, but I haven't put that together yet. But that'll be
Okay.
like mid-December when that takes place. So
Okay.
yeah, so we'll have the waist beads and the head wraps available for purchase. I already have some waist beads here at the Sankofa Soul Shop retail space here at the center. So it's all about the culture, all
That's
about the
right.
culture.
That's
Oh, and
right.
we have the planner and calendar
Okay.
also. I know your mom got one. Mama Kathy got one
Oh
down
yeah.
at the Build Power Summit. So this is just a calendar for 2024, and it
Okay.
has the planner as well. So each week you're gonna get a brief essay that I wrote on a particular person, place, or
What?
event that's significant to our story. And each month it started out with a calendar of event of dates and birthdays and things of that nature.
Well,
And
order mine. I'm
no,
gonna order mine.
Okay, and
I found
those
one.
that are significant to the state of Mississippi have an asterisk by 'em, because I'm
Okay.
a Mississippi girl now.
Queen Kathy said, "Will the November 19th event be virtual too?"
We hadn't made plans for it to be virtual, but hey, we're gonna look at that because yeah, we want as many people in attendance as possible because Sister Shani, if you go to her website, I can drop that, but it's in Cover Creates. She has some beautiful waist beads. And one of the reasons why I'm excited because I got like three at home that I don't know how to put on. So I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for her to come and help me put those on so they can stay on this time. But I
Yeah.
do have the ankle bracelets on. So yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mama. She said
Uh,
she loved her calendar.
That's right. Sister Angela says she loves hers too.
Yay.
I'm gonna order mine too. I'm gonna order mine too. But Sister Crystal, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
thank you, thank you.
you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. I
I
love
appreciate it.
you. I hey,
Salute,
that's right.
Commander.
That's right. Salute. Salute. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Please share
Yes.
this video. Share this video. Subscribe to Sister Crystal's YouTube channel. Is
Read
reading
Black with me.
Read Black with me, okay, on YouTube. Please subscribe to that as well, okay? All this math for your children, okay? Sister Crystal is teaching about reading and history. Brother Akil is teaching the math. Hey, we have the tools around us, okay? We have the tools that we need, all right? We
Yeah.
just got to reach out and grab them and use them, okay? But thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, love y'all and peace.
Peace.